You're listening to Human Wreckage, where we delve into stories that are not just about crime, but about the hidden truths beneath it, about the people who were silenced, and the ones who finally spoke. I'm your host, Thomas, and today we're exploring the deeply disturbing and haunting case of John Cottle, a 14-year-old boy from Monte Vista, Colorado, who committed the unthinkable. He killed his mother and stepfather. But as with many stories we cover here, this one has layers of trauma, of silence, of powerlessness, and ultimately, a desperate cry for help that no one heard until it was too late. October 26, 2009. It was just another chilly autumn evening in rural Colorado. John Cottle had just gotten home from school. His mother, Joanne Reinbarger, was waiting for him. Furious, angry over chores that hadn't been done. That day, something broke inside John, and what followed would shock not only the quiet town of Monte Vista, but the entire country. John Cottle was just 14 years old, a skinny kid, quiet, a little awkward. People who knew him said he was polite, intelligent. He liked video games. He got decent grades. But the John that the world saw at school wasn't the John who existed at home. He was born in Arkansas, raised by his mother, Joanne, who remarried a man named Tracy Reinbarger. From the outside, they were a working-class family living in a rural home. But inside that home, something far darker was happening. According to testimony from family members and friends, John's home life was a nightmare. His mother was controlling, abusive, and often cruel. Joanne reportedly called John names like idiot, donkey, asshole. She allegedly withheld food, forced him to do physically exhausting chores like hauling heavy rocks, sometimes as punishment. John wasn't allowed to have many friends. He didn't have a cell phone. He didn't go to parties. He couldn't even eat the food in the house without permission. His maternal grandmother said Joanne was too strict. That John didn't have anyone to turn to. And then there was Tracy, the stepfather. According to John, Tracy didn't hit him, but he didn't protect him either. He sided with Joanne. So what happens to a child when he's never safe? When the people who are supposed to protect him become the people he fears? The day it happened, John had been grounded, again, for weeks. That Monday, Joanne was yelling at him again, about chores, about his attitude. She mocked him, called him stupid, told him he was worthless. That was the moment John made a decision that would change and end two lives. He walked to the family gun safe. He took out 2.22 caliber pistols. He walked back upstairs into the living room, and he shot his mother. Once, then again, and again. 9 times in total. She never got a chance to scream. Then he waited. He sat calmly until Tracy came home. As Tracy opened the front door, John hid in the laundry room. When Tracy saw Joanne's body, he screamed. He shouted her name. And that's when John stepped out. He raised the gun. He shot Tracy in the head, twice. And when he saw Tracy still breathing, still gasping for life, John stuffed his nostrils with earplugs. Then dragged his body into the bedroom. He laid his stepfather next to his mother. He covered the bodies with blankets. And then he cleaned the house. He did laundry. He watched TV. And that night, he slept in the same house with their corpses only a room away. The next morning, John went to school. Like nothing happened. Teachers would later say he was calm, participated in class, didn't seem nervous. That afternoon, John took his stepfather's truck and started driving, alone. He didn't have a plan. Police pulled him over for erratic driving. When they questioned him, John told them everything. Calmly, no emotion. When officers searched the house, they found the bodies. Covered, peaceful, and they found notes John had written. One of them read, "I'm sorry for everything, but I just couldn't take it anymore." Prosecutors had a choice to make. Try John as a juvenile, or try him as an adult. They chose the latter. 2 counts of first-degree murder. He was facing the possibility of life in prison. But John's defense painted a different picture, not of a cold-blooded killer, but of a child raised in constant fear, a boy whose mind had snapped under pressure and cruelty. After months of deliberation, a deal was struck. John pled guilty to second-degree murder for killing Tracy and to manslaughter for killing his mother. He was sentenced to 22 years in prison with a concurrent 6-year sentence for manslaughter. At the time of his sentencing, John Cottle was just 15. He won't be eligible for release until he's in his mid-30s. What makes this story so haunting isn't just the violence. It's the silence before it. The years John lived in a home where he felt voiceless, where the abuse he suffered went unnoticed, unreported, or worse, accepted. In court, one of John's surrogate grandparents said, "He was not a bad child. He just wanted someone to love him." There's a larger conversation this case forces us to have about how we treat young people who commit terrible acts, and about how we miss the warning signs long before they happen. How many children like John are out there living in silence, counting the days until something breaks? We like to think we can spot evil, that killers are born, not made. But in stories like John Cottle's, nothing is black and white. Maybe if someone had listened, maybe if someone had asked the right question, this boy wouldn't have become a killer. Thank you for joining us on Human Wreckage. If today's story moved you, disturbed you, or made you think, please consider sharing it. Leave a review. Start a conversation.